Perilous times, the need for a global reality check. In the past, leaders of great wisdom endeavored to steer the United States clear of the tumultuous wars that consumed Europe. There was a prevailing sentiment that those conflicts were over there, distant, and we wanted no part of sending our youth to foreign shores to become casualties of someone else's battle. However, the allure of an isolationist stance in today's American political landscape is perilously misguided. We live in an era where our destinies are irrevocably intertwined. The adage that what happens in one part of the world doesn't impact another is antiquated. Events in the United States ripple across the globe just as European affairs can profoundly affect us. It's distressing to note that certain right-wing politicians have adopted a strategy of keeping their base uninformed and inflamed. This is not only manipulative but also dangerous. Once ignited, the fires of ignorance and anger are hard to extinguish. It's a disservice to the nation when a large portion of its population remains ill-informed and disconnected from global realities. Take the situation in Ukraine, for instance. Some argue that supporting Ukraine is financially burdensome, without giving thought to the far greater cost of having to deploy American troops to a foreign battlefield. If Ukraine were to fall and Russia triumphed, would their ambitions halt at Ukraine's borders? It's unlikely. Their gaze would likely turn to the Balkans, of which there are 9 members of NATO and then NATO allies like Poland, nations we are bound by treaty to defend. Ukraine in many ways stands as a bulwark, ensuring that American families don't have to bid tearful goodbyes to their children heading to foreign wars. Yet a segment of the Republican base, conditioned by years of misinformation, vehemently opposes supporting nations like Ukraine, which are on the front lines of defending democratic values. Traditional Republicans may have found it politically expedient to fuel such sentiments for electoral gains. However, this strategy is now backfiring. Once the proverbial monster is unleashed, reining it in becomes a Herculean task. Take Senator Lindsey Graham, for instance. He advocates for support to Ukraine, fully aware that a victorious Ukraine means our troops remain safe at home. Yet, he and others like him have for years peddled half-truths to their base, prioritizing political victory over national interest. Our challenge now is immense. We must educate and convince a swath of our fellow Americans that it's in our national interest to support frontline countries like Ukraine. By doing so, we ensure our children don't have to bear arms on foreign soil.